I get that estimate, I send it in to him, and I get another desk adjuster that calls me directly, and he's irate, and he's like, you sent us, I don't know who you think you are, but you sent us this estimate saying that all the windows and doors in the whole house need to be replaced, and you didn't even include not one single image of any piece of any damage. Where's the damage at, right? Why are we replacing all the windows and doors in the whole house? I go, oh, I'm sorry. Hey, hold on a second. I'm human and I make mistakes. Let me see. Let me go check on this. Hold on a second. Still searching. One moment, still searching. Oh, I see the problem. I see it right here. If I could just direct your attention to the most recent insurance adjuster estimate that was written by your adjuster, the one that went out with the payment, right? Like it says in there that all the windows and doors are damaged and prices are to follow. Does it not? Approved. I never had to go with the stuff. Everything was approved, 100%, zero friction. Like if you call that friction, me having to get through that guy calling me and yelling at me, that was the only friction I ever saw in that. I'm not going to spend as much time going through this estimate, but I just want to briefly go through it. This is estimate or episode 10 on that. What's wrong with this insurance estimate? If you want to get the bigger picture here, but the first adjuster, he wrote up like drywall where it's like cedar ceiling, and he put drywall. He put like drywall and paint where it's wallpaper, like premium grade wallpaper. He puts regular baseboard where it's like 6-piece custom baseboard. And same thing with crown molding. He's missing entire like bar areas with inset custom cabinets and granite countertop and uppers and lowers and ice makers that are in the lower cabinets, sinks and all of that, right? I mean, we got like plumbing that needs to be done where it's like angle stop valves and plumbing fixture supply lines and the whole 9 yards. I mean, he doesn't have any electrical at all, but he somehow still comes up with, I guess, enough money to get it started, but then not really. $182,556. And once you take off the depreciation of another 20 grand almost, I think I had a deductible of about that. Wasn't very much money because I can also tell you that all the windows and doors in the whole house had to be replaced. There's a 25% rule in Florida where if 25% or more of the windows and doors are damaged and the rest of them aren't up to code, they all have to be replaced. And that had already been far exceeded. And he'd only put like a couple windows in this whole estimate. And so I could also tell you that to replace all the windows and doors, they were Pella. We were going to go back with Anderson, a little less money, but custom windows and doors, and it was going to be $175,000 just for the windows and doors. So they paid $182 minus depreciation and deductible. You got to kind of get the windows and doors ordered in the beginning. We had problems, like we have some money in, but what are we supposed to do with it, right? That's where we're at on this. So in this instance, I did a photo report, sent it to Tower Hill, and it worked. They didn't ask me to send the estimate. It triggered the re-inspect. So another adjuster comes out, and he is, seasoned guy. He comes out, and I remember him saying, "What's the problem?" Like when we were on the outside, what's the big problem with this? How'd you get so high? Because they're at 182, and I'm at like 438 on this estimate that I'm going to show you. And he's like, what are all the big deals? I go, man, what's not wrong with this? Like I started explaining some of those things I was telling you. And he goes, oh, because, the guy that wrote the first estimate's a real good friend of mine. He usually does a really good job. And I was like, oh, man, good thing I didn't like totally trash that dude, But I go, no, I understand, it was the fog of war after something like that. He probably had 30 other deals to get to. And as you'll see, this is one of those deals where everything runs together. But at least he got some money going and got it started. So I'm sure that's what he was thinking at the time. But one of the big things I want to really point out on this estimate, and the reason why I brought it up the most, is I want to introduce you to the open item, okay? Because at this point, dude, I know if I put the windows and doors on my estimate, so my 438 does not include the windows and doors. does not include the $175,000 for the windows and doors, okay? I know that if I put the windows and doors on the estimate, that's going to put everything on hold. You know, that's going to delay everything. They're going to send building consultants and engineers. They're going to delay everything. They're going to resist having to pay all the windows and doors in the whole house. I just know they are. So the idea of that undisputed cash, let's get the money off the table for everything that we do at least agree that they owe us money for, and let's get to the windows and doors later. Let's sort that problem, that more complicated problem, out later. There's also masonry. All the stone was going to have to be dealt with. It was all demolished by flying debris, right? High-end custom stone all the way around. Or it might have been brick, I don't know, but it was going to be a lot of money. And I didn't want to get into that with them yet either. You know, I knew if I put all that in, that was going to be, you know, we're going to be way, way, way up there. We're already so far apart. So for that reason, I opted to go with the open item, all right? And I feel like most of you already seen the open item before. The open item on adjuster's estimates, where it says, permits and fees, 0 with the asterisk, open item.
I see bid item.
Well, that's a different thing. Bid item's different, but let me talk about that. But first, the open item is more like for fees and permits. They'll be like, it'll say 0, open item, contractor to submit as incurred. Whereas a bid item is different. Bid item is where, okay, you know the AC unit has to be replaced and you're going to use an AC sub, right? And so you get your sub to approve your, you get your sub to submit to you their estimate, right? And what I would do in that instance, by the way, and usually with AC units, they're not going to approve them right away. They'll make you go through the motions of trying to repair them. So I'll have a sub come out, do a repair estimate with trip charges and everything, or attempted repair for an inspection, and have them bill me for that, right? And then I'd have them do another one to show what's wrong with it and why it has to be replaced, and literally every item that they need to do. So like if it's, you know, $5,000, what does that include? I want to know. I don't need them to itemize and price each item, but I need to know the items that's going to be included with, like duct work and how many linear feet of lining and all kinds of other things, right? Like what all are you going to do to come up with that 5,000? Then I want to translate that into Xactimate, because I find that I'm usually coming up with like 7,500 in Xactimate, right? But in the off instance where they are saying like 7,500 is their estimate to me, and I get an Xactimate and I'm only coming up with $5,000, then I would submit that as a bid item, right? Now, but you've also seen bid items where they've approved your entire estimate as a bid item, right? That also is the other way to get the RFG versus DMO bought, because they're not revising their estimate, so they don't catch it. The other way is like Nationwide's one of them, where they will, like if you send them your estimate, they'll get back to you with like 20 different reasons, like an email of 20 different 1 through 20. And they'll be like, line item 35, you got on there this, why? We're not showing any, and they make you explain each item. I like that, because remember, that's my arena where they have to fight item by item and focus on each item by item. But at the end of that process, you'll probably agree to take some items off, right? And they'll add items on. But then they'll want you to revise your estimate, right? And when you revise your estimate, they won't catch it, RFG versus DMO. So they won't catch it then, they won't catch it as they approve your estimate as a bid item. And then the method I showed you before. Those are really the only ways I know of.
But you sent it in originally with RFG.
Yes.
You don't flip it after the fact, otherwise.
Right, yeah. I don't want to be deceitful about it. I want to be straight up. And I know it's all accurate too. That's why I know. Like I'm sneaking it back to them and telling them to, Here's the thing. The dollar amounts and the estimates, and I understand this perfectly because I don't build anymore. So I don't think ever about the dollar amounts, ever. Right? I should. It's a weakness of mine. Because if the adjuster were playing games like that, I wouldn't catch it. I would never catch it. And so you got to understand, you guys always think in terms of dollar amounts, but the adjusters don't. They just think in terms of items, right? Which is going to come in handy at my next section, which we're almost there. So look, here's what I do. So I put in the windows and doors, right? Open item, amount 0. 30. This is just front elevation or rear elevation. 37 windows and 7 doors are damaged, require replacement due to the FBC 25% building code, and must be replaced. Prices to follow. Building code requirements are attached to the beginning of the images section. All right, like make them go check it out, the codes, right? And then you can see next coming up is that masonry section down here somewhere. Masonry, same thing. Open item, 0. Brick veneer is brick. The brick veneer exterior walls are heavily damaged by hurricane debris hits and will need repaired. We're awaiting a masonry contractor to evaluate further. Prices to follow, open item, right? So we're not going to have that fight today. We're going to fight that. We're going to have that fight another day, all right? For now, let's just get to the important stuff, okay? Now, as important as windows and doors are, $438,000 will help us now. We might have to shift money around, but we can now order the windows and doors. You see what I mean? Like you gotta be a little creative. So left elevation, 10 windows, 3 doors, price 0. Masonry, price 0, right? HVAC, front elevation, 17 windows and 1 door, price 0. Masonry, price 0. Right elevation, masonry, price 0. Windows and doors. 4 windows and doors are damaged, require replacement. Prices to follow, price 0. And then the rest of the estimate, okay, which I won't bore you with because it's 438 pages and more images on this one, 2 images per page, but it's pretty crazy, right? But you know, and I looked through the other day. I'll say that in a little bit. That comes up later. But this is what the house looks like. Give you an idea. There's the rear elevation, and there's the 37 windows and doors. Or 37 windows and 4 doors or whatever it said, 7 or whatever, on the rear elevation by itself, right? So it's a pretty big house, but there's the wood ceiling and they had drywall. I think there's that bar area I was telling you about. Look at that. They just missed that whole area. Like, and it was already gone. Like they sent out ServPro or somebody to go and do gut everything out. Just wanted to show you like some of these ceilings in here before they got gutted out. They were just saturated. And this is like on the ground floor, and there's a couple floors above it. So this is just from coming in from the walls. But high-end job, right? I mean, and the flooring was custom, and they had just regular wood floor. You know, it's pretty horrible. So I wrote an estimate, but again, no money for the windows and doors, masonry, any of that. Okay, but let me just fly through the rest of it.
Get cabinetry by default because of the wood floors.
You have to address the
I've got a
drywall.
claim actually going on at my house right now where I have flood on the main floor. It was a hardwood floor, and the cabinets they install them on top.
On top of the wood floor.
Of the wood instead of cutting them out. Do you have an argument?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to go for the detach and reset everything, you know, at the very least, yeah, so
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
including the sink, the faucet, the angle stop valves, the plumbing fixture supply line, the garbage disposal, the oven, range, whatever's in the way, the backsplash, the whole 9 yards.
They're trying to pay for the square footage
Sure.
without.
Let me come back to that, okay?
Yeah,
But
I don't want
no, because I want to finish this up and take a quick break.
to talk about my problems.
No, you're good. You're totally good.
We're making it about me, but
Yeah, make it about me. No, this is about me, guys. No. Okay, so look. So the guy comes out, he sees everything. He says, do you have an estimate? First thing we get there, he goes, do you have an estimate? I go, well, you know, I got the framework of what started, you know, but I need to know what you're going to approve. Everything's so far off, you know. We got to go look around, see what you're going to approve. I need to know what I'm going to write an estimate on. We perform all the repairs that are prescribed by you. The prescription's a mess. That's where we're starting, right? But I noticed you guys use Symbility. I use Xactimate. Is that going to be a problem? Because can you send me the ESX? Right? I mean, just like, so we're talking about Symbility. Even though we're talking about Symbility, the question coming back to me is still the same. That kind of surprised me a little bit. I wouldn't assume that you'll expect that all the time. You know what I mean?
I feel like they run into that civility.
But he had to get approval from his supervisor to get that out, right? And he got it. And he's like, can you send it to us? I was like, yeah, but man, this took me a week to do this estimate, right? So the punchline, here comes his revised. So here's the revised estimate from the Tower Hill adjuster. I gave him the ESX file. Like I said, it took me like a week. And he told me he had 30 other claims that he was working on. So Where's he going to find the time to get a week? You know, if he does, it's not going to be done very good. That helps me to understand why it was so bad in the first place. So I give him the ESX file, and as you can see, this is his estimate. First thing you'll note, here's a Tower Hill estimate on Xactimate, which you don't normally see.
By the way, you had 10% on your first line item. The overhead profit was only 10%.
Pardon?
Go to yours, go to the one you were showing before. Is the 10,000 square feet, whatever I think was siding. It would have been at the top. I think it was your first line item.
My first line item?
Yeah. Whatever was 10,000 square feet of replace, it was either replace or something like that. Oh, right there. It's 1243. Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot.
Oh, you're looking at the quantity. You're looking at the quantity. Come on, man. We don't have time for that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
Noob needs to.
I'm just playing. If you put up, yeah, I'll put up with you. All right, great. So, all right, we're at the revised estimate here, and you can see that it's Xactimate. And let's just look at what he comes up with. We start with the front elevation. I started with the rear, but he started with the front. And I will tell you, he knocked some things down. He took the masonry off because I'm not going to pay for them. I'm not putting the masonry. I'm taking that off of there. And I said, well, we're going to have to do that work. He goes, yeah, we're going to have to do that work. He's like, well, they're going to kick that back down. I go, okay, well, just let you know, I'm going to just, supplement for it after this. You know what I mean? I'll just get it later. Okay, fine. You know what I mean? So it's no big deal at that point. It really is no big deal. You got to pick your battles. It's usually the timing, the juncture at which you decide to have your argument is usually where I see the most problems in our industry, the most point of resistance, if you will. So, but anyway, here's his estimate. He's got on there, on the front elevation, 17 windows and 1 door are damaged. Prices to follow. Price, 0. So he didn't give me any money for it. What's the big deal, right? Right? So this is the adjuster's estimate, guys. 17 windows and 1 door are damaged. Okay? Are damaged. This is coming from the adjuster. Prices to follow. The battle has already been won, my friends. You know what I mean? The battle's already been won right there. Right there. And I'll prove it to you. So you just we got to get our money off the table. We have the window damage fight later. But later when we have our fight, it won't be a fight. You know what I mean? So, all right, rear elevation, same thing. 37 windows, 7 doors are damaged. Prices to follow. 10 windows, 3 doors, 4 windows, prices to follow, right? And so the rest of it, we didn't do the roof on this one either. We didn't have the roof in our estimate, but he had it in his. But he approved everything, right? But I was going to say earlier, and I said, no, I'll tell you this later. I was looking through it the other day, in one of these events, I happened to be looking at the kitchen. Oh, here it is, actually. Yeah, here it is right here. I was looking at the kitchen, and I noticed that in my estimate, I had 3 angle stop valves and 3 plumbing supply fixture lines. And I didn't ever notice this before, but this little bastard came back and changed mine from 3 and put it down to 2. Where is that at? It's right here somewhere. You know what I mean? Why would he do that? Like I said, they like to go and take things off to like they're doing something. Where is it at? There it is. The 148 and 149. I had 3 and he changed the 2. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you just have to really watch for it. Like they'll change some things, but in this case, I wasn't too concerned. So obviously, nobody ever caught it. Job's been built for a long time. Let's go to the end result. $405,916. So I had 438, right? He knocked me down. He sent me down on my masonry, some other things, right? He's at 405, and he wouldn't give me the estimate. I remember as an independent guy. And he's like, well, I submitted the estimate. Where were you at? He's like, well, I can't really tell you, when you get those that do that. They don't want to get into it with you until it's been approved. They don't want to be held to that, right? So the carrier sends this estimate to my client. or my client's client rather, this guy's a retired attorney, and it makes its way over to me, and they said, review this, and I looked at it, and an inside desk adjuster was asking the policyholder, this older guy, where's the window and door estimate? So they sent out the estimate with no payment, right? Somebody caught it and said, wait, where's the window and door estimate before we send out this money? And so he contacted me, what should I say? And I'm like, are you serious? You're a retired attorney. You know what to say. This is undisputed cash. You know what I mean? Like, we agree that you at least owe us that amount of money. In this case, we were waiting for Pella to give it, or Anderson, one or the other. I think it was Anderson, Pella, I don't know. Anderson, it was Anderson. They had Pella, we were going back with Anderson. We were waiting on Anderson to give us 20 pages worth of documentation on these windows and doors. It took them like 2 weeks. And so we didn't even have it yet. So tell them, we're not even there yet. We don't have the documentation back from Anderson yet. Send the money. Send the 405 now, or whatever the difference is. So he did that, and they sent the money right away. As soon as they sent the money, we got all the windows and doors stuff. I did my estimate pretty reasonable. I used Xactimate for all of the window items. And what I did was I changed the material price in the windows to whatever Anderson's price was, right? And I put footnotes on there, like it's all descriptive. See attached Anderson, everything was a JPEG. Every page of their stuff was a JPEG image. See Anderson stuff, for the material receipt, or for the material prices, I use their material prices. And then I use Xactimate labor for those same windows, which was low. Because Anderson's saying, well, you have to do all this other hardware and all these other items, right? So really, I could have charged them way more in labor. So I checked with my client, like, hey, is 175 going to do it? And he's like, oh, yeah, you'll never get 175. He was like, that'd be great. I'm like, okay, good. So I just figured if it goes sideways, I'll hold that in my back pocket for me to then say, oh, you don't like the 175? We'll go back and hit the reset button, because Anderson's saying that I also have to do this, and this. So you're right. There's problems with the estimate, but it's low, So anyway, I get that estimate. I send it in to him. And I get another desk adjuster that calls me directly. And he's irate. And he's like, you sent us, I don't know who you think you are, but you sent us this estimate saying that all the windows and doors in the whole house need to be replaced. And you didn't even include not one single image of any piece of any damage. Where's the damage at, right? Why are we replacing all the windows and doors in the whole house? I go, oh, I'm sorry. Hey, hold on a second. I'm human and I make mistakes. Let me see. Let me go check on this. Hold on a second. Still searching. One moment, still searching. Oh, I see the problem. I see it right here. If I could just direct your attention to the most recent insurance adjuster estimate that was written by your adjuster, the one that went out with the payment, right? Like, it says in there that all the windows and doors are damaged and prices are to follow. Does it not? Approved. I never had to go with the stuff. Everything was approved, 100%, zero friction. Like, if you call that friction, me having to get through that guy calling me and yelling at me, that was the only friction I ever saw in that. Done.
They weren't all damaged though, right? It was a 25%.
Yeah, there was like probably 40% of them were damaged, but they were all up, weren't up to code, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Zero fight, So it's just one of the things where, and you could go into episode 10 and episode 8, like I said, and get more of the story if you want to watch. It's like an hour and a half on one, an hour and 45 minutes on another. It's big, long episodes, but it's just that that ESX thing could go a long way. The other thing I could say is that this estimate, again, 405. Did you guys see anything in my estimate about any RFG, DMO, SDG? So his estimate was written correctly.
By you.
Yeah. So I don't know what to say, right? So that's the value I wanted to show you, on those two case studies. I'm going to get into the code game next. Any questions on any of this stuff here?
I guess on RFG, if you can't get the ESX file to them, how do you approach it?
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, the only way I can get it bought are those ways I mentioned, the ESX file, or if I get them to approve my estimate as a bid item, or if they want me to revise my, like nationwide, they have me revise it. At the end of that process, they just use my estimate as the price. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So other than that, man, that's where I say like
You're not
four.
gonna get them to flip the DMO.
No, no, not that I know of.
Okay.
I've never been able to get them to do that
Tried
one.
on 8 and shut it down. I'm like, nope.
Yep. And so after having tried to do it on many, like on many of them that I've tried it, and that's why I'm a numbers guy, man. I'm a data guy. Like I'm a student of the numbers. I'm gonna try to find the path of least resistance. I'm gonna follow all the fundamentals of my game plan. Like if it's basketball, your shot, your blocking, or your boxing out, your dribbling, passing, hands up on defense. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily am I gonna hit the game-winning shot. But I am gonna follow. I'm gonna follow a process, man, and I'm gonna exhaust all those options. Until I run out of options. But let's get into. There's still way more to come. There's still a missing link, like you're talking about the building before the job or after. How does that kind of come together? There's still way more to come, and I want to get to it. Okay, so let's get into the code game.